Hello, in this video, let's talk about the right way to use percentages in your ACCA Performance Management exam. When you sit paper PM, you'll find that section C of the exam is called the constructed response section. You'll be given a scenario and then a blank spreadsheet or a blank word processor in which to do your work. Here's an example of a performance management question. On the left side of the screen, you get the scenario, and it contains a short business story usually, and then you are presented with some data about the company. It could be financial, it could be non-financial, or it could be a mix. Then on the right side of the screen, you are given a task. In this case, you need to assess the quality of the service. And you'll do that in the word processor that is provided. In order to assess or evaluate the quality, you'll need to turn the data that's provided into information, and the way to provide insight is to use the relative comparison that we talked about in our previous video. Here's another example. Imagine you get a story about an online retailer. They sell a variety of goods to customers who place their order on the website, and the company then fulfills the order, delivering that product to the customer. In the data provided, they give you information about the company's system downtime, the time that the website is not working when you get the error message. And in the data, we see this. In year 1, the system downtime was 1%. In year 2, the system downtime was 2%. Let me show you what not to do. And that would be talking about the change in absolute terms or in percentage point terms. So if you calculated this as a 1% change and left it at that, you'd risk getting no credit because you did not provide any insight into the significance of those numbers. The right way to do it would be to express that change as a percentage or in relative terms. So we will compare the 2% to the 1%. We'll put 2% in the numerator, 1% in the denominator, then we can subtract 1, and we see that system downtime actually increased by 100%. We see that system downtime doubled, and that's a big problem for an online retailer. Their website is a mission-critical resource. If the downtime continues to grow at this rate, well, that will threaten the future of the company. That is what you need to do in ACCA PM to earn marks when you are evaluating performance. Express the change as a percentage and then make meaningful, insightful comments about the impact of that change on the business. Here's another example, and I'm going to let you do this one. Imagine we find in a scenario some financial data. And I've summarized it here. Imagine they tell us in year 1, sales are $5.3 million. And then we see growth, don't we? We see that sales have grown. We see that profit has grown as well. Please pause the video, calculate the percentage change, and then I'd like you to step back and think about what those numbers mean. What can that tell us about performance of the business, about the driver of profit. Welcome back. I did the math, and the first thing I observe is that profit has increased by 42%. That is a significant increase. The company is performing well in terms of generating profit. I also see that sales grew by 10%, but costs only grew by 2%. That's also potentially good news from a financial control point of view. And if I had access to the data, we could drill down into that further. We could find out if that change in costs is due to the company being mostly fixed costs. As you know, the fixed costs will remain constant when the activity level increases. Or did the company reduce the variable cost per unit? If we had access to more data from the scenario, they might also give us external information about the change in the market. So we would then compare the change in sales from our company here to the change in the market. And we could then evaluate if this company is holding its market share or if it's growing market share. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you need to be able to do in your upcoming performance management exam when you are evaluating the performance of an organization. The first thing is that you need to be clear. Are you speaking in relative or absolute terms? If you're speaking in relative terms, you'll be communicating in terms of a percentage change. And if it's absolute, then it would be in units or percentage points. And to gain the marks, you got to remember that it's the relative comparison or the percentage change that will give you more insight and help you make a meaningful evaluation of performance.